In this video, I'm going to talk about the conflict sometimes people experience when they're going through voice therapy. So they've come with some goals, some issues they want to work through with their voice, sometimes very long-standing, sometimes from childhood, sometimes recent. It depends what the voice issue is about, if it was behavioural, short-term abuse of the voice, or sometimes it's a long-standing issue. What happens often is they do well in therapy, they're progressing very well, and the voice is kind of going in the direction that were identified as the goals, but the person starts experiencing this conflict where it's targeting the goal, but to them it's sounding different, or they'll often say things like, it doesn't sound like me. And this is an issue of wanting to change, but also change brings with it certain challenges. Very often it's because they haven't heard their new voice as long as they've had the bad voice in a while. They've forgotten what the original voice was like. And even though they might be sounding more like they did before, in the case, let's say, of a dysphonia, then getting used to that different placement. Sometimes it can sound a bit too clear or a bit too bright, and it takes a little bit of getting used to. But there are drawbacks of having very croaky voices or very low voices or weak voices. So once they learn to adjust to that newer voice, they can usually run with it and see that it's benefiting their life, and they're no longer having to repeat themselves, and they can call out. And similarly, if somebody's wanting to change their pitch or their intonation, when they actually do change the pitch, again, it will sound very different to the ear, getting used to. And part of therapy is getting used to the voice as it's changing. It's not the case that you just suddenly do well in therapy and everything is easy to accept. It really takes some adjustment. And part of the therapist's role is to support somebody through the process of voice change. And it's always a process, and actually the acceptance of a new voice. So we're really talking about acceptance, really, of the voice once it's changed, once it's improved. And acceptance is really the key to building confidence so that people can use it in the ways they want to. The main influencer here for people who feel their voice sounds weird is feeling self-conscious. And this is one of the biggest thwarters of progress in nearly all therapy, but I'd say particularly in voice therapy, because when people's voices change and it sounds different, they start to suddenly feel self-conscious. And I've certainly had cases where people had very hoarse voices or croaky voices, achieved a very smooth voice, well within normal limits, but the person themselves had some resistance to it. So resistance and self-consciousness go hand in hand. Often when you get big levels of resistance, it's often to do with people just feeling a little bit cringy about using the voice and not confident to do that. And again, there are steps to gaining that confidence that good therapy should see you through. But these are some of the deeper issues that go with voice change that people might not always think about. If you found that video helpful, please press the like button and subscribe to the channel.